Here's the number one strategy that I found that has really helped all sorts of businesses, but there was one carpenter in particular that really helped it. I'm not talking about the carpenter who, for anybody who's still on Easter time, I'm not talking about that carpenter. I'm starting a live video. I don't know what is going on because I'm trying to use all sorts of footage. But today it looks like I'm going live on my phone. I was trying to go onto the computer, but it wouldn't let me on. So, hello, it's Russell Pearson. It's Tactical Tuesday. It's that time of the week where we go live for our tactic and discuss different things that are going to add value to you and your business. Now, today what we're going to be talking about is referrals, and I want to be showing you this one really cool referral trick that I taught to a carpenter a few years back. I was talking about this case study earlier today, and this one step that we actually put into his business completely changed the way his business worked. So we actually got from doing like a small bit of work that he was doing ongoing to having a business that was sustainable for years on end. So we'll be talking to you more about that in a moment. But what I'd like to talk about is referral business in general, because most people I speak with love referral business. Warwick, how are you? Wahoo for Alternatives, Plans for Tech. Ellen, yes, this is on now. If you're actually asking, it is definitely on now. Most people like referrals. Now, the reason they love referrals is actually one, like legitimate reason, and two is a psychological reason. So the main reason that people should like referrals is that they're easier to convert, because someone who's referred to you, it comes along with a bit of trust, because the person who referred to you usually has a trusting relationship with the person who's been referred. So there's this element of trust that comes along, which makes it easier to convert those referrals. Now, the second one is more of a psychological one, that the idea is that if you're getting referrals, you must be doing a good job. So it's kind of this proof that you are doing a good job. And it's an interesting one, because whether you need someone else to tell you you're doing a good job, I think that you should always have some form of feedback inside your business, and it shouldn't just be referrals. Now, the reason why referrals are not the be end and all when it comes to business marketing, as far as I'm concerned, is that referrals are not a proactive way of getting new business. You're actually having other people bring business to you, and it's not something you can really control. Now, to be honest, I am a bit of a control freak, but that's not really the reason why I want to have control. It's so that I can increase or decrease the amount of new prospects that come into my world at any one time, so I can actually manage the growth and production of the business. So referrals become this really nice addition to that, though, so that you can have consistent leads coming into your business along the way, right? Now, you have absolutely work. The thing with referrals being a passive type of marketing, there are ways to make it proactive, and I will discuss those in just a moment. But let's say one of the simplest ways to actually make them proactive is to ask. So there's all sorts of people out there that do not know that you need new business. And you might not need new business, but you might want new business. And funnily enough, if you were to just say to people, by the way, do you know anyone just like you who I love working with, who would get a bit of benefit out of the things that we do for you? So if they were able to find someone just like them, that's a great place to start. And just on that, there's a little bit of a caveat. When you're looking for referrals from your customers, it's very important not to ask for referrals from everybody, because most businesses have an A, B, C, and D style clients. Now, the A's are fantastic. You know, they're the clients that pay on time, they're easy to deal with, and they appreciate you for the hard work that you put into what you do. Now, B's, they're pretty much the same, but sometimes they're a little bit awkward. You know, from time to time, we have to have a discussion. C's, sometimes there's issues, all right? So we need to speak to these people. We need to decide, are we going to move them up, or are we going to move them out of the business? That's the C-type clients. And you should be ranking your clients from this point of view, because there is nothing worse than getting a D-type client who actually sucks the life out of you on a day-to-day basis, steals your time and actually haggles about the money. Now, they never appreciate what you do, and often the times they actually complain about things even when they're working exactly the way they're supposed to be working. It's funny, I had a conversation with someone today who had got rid of their advertising person even though the ads were performing fantastically. They just didn't know that they were performing as well as they were. They also didn't understand what were the important parts of the advertising mechanism. So it was interesting to see that like they were more than meeting their KPIs as far as like doing the work they needed to do. But it was weird because they just switched to another company who told them stories about what they could get, even though they didn't realize what they were getting in the first place. So put that to the side. There are people who don't know what you're doing. So you ask the A-type clients, those clients that you love, that are easy to deal with, that actually thank you for the hard work that you do. You ask those clients, do you know anyone just like you that would appreciate the sort of work that I do for you? And they will have one or two people that they will refer you to. And don't just sort of ask it on a whim. Say, look, if you've got anything specific, I'd love to speak to them on your behalf, or allow them to make an introduction. Now, just simply asking and having that process of asking being a consistent and ideally systemized thing can and should increase your business by about 20%. That's what I've seen over the years, is that by putting just a simple ask campaign in with any company, they start to generate about 20% more business over the course of a year. Now, that's not the referral system that I wanted to talk about today. And I'm going to get to it in just a moment. But before I do, the other referral systems out there are rewarding people for referring people to you. That's another thing. I've seen a lot of people have the idea of giving a bottle of champagne to anyone who refers someone, even if they don't become a client, because they want to positively reinforce that activity. And they will find themselves giving like boxes of champagne out to little old ladies who are referring them on a regular basis. Now, I've found in a B2B world that doesn't work nearly as well as you would think, because there's this idea of, if I just referred to you $20,000 worth of work and you purchased a bottle of champagne that might be worth less than $200, how much value am I actually providing? How much value are you thinking I'm providing? There's not really the same sort of parity on value there. But what I find is, if someone gives you a referral, that you should be giving them a referral, or you're actually going out of your way to give referrals with the idea of reciprocity. What you put out there comes back to you. It's more karma, really, but reciprocity is if you help somebody, they are more inclined to help you. If you give something to somebody, they're more inclined to give something to you. If you're out there giving referrals, you'll find that you'll actually get more referrals in return, because it's human nature. But here's the number one strategy that I found that has really helped all sorts of businesses, but there was one carpenter in particular that really helped it. I'm not talking about the carpenter who, for anybody who's still on Easter time, I'm not talking about that carpenter. I'm talking about a carpenter I was working with down in the Mornington Peninsula. And he had very particular things that he enjoyed doing. And one of those things that he enjoyed doing was window frames. Now, he didn't want to do all the other types of cabinetry, but what he did want to do is these window frames. And so what I said to him is, how far do you want to travel? Well, I don't want to travel too far. All right, great. How big do you want to have this business? I don't want to make it too big. I might have an apprentice on at some point. I don't want to have like lots of employees. So he didn't want to grow in some crazy amount of way, but he wanted to have marketing on board. So we put this referral strategy in, and he never had to do another type of marketing ever again. We picked the suburb where he lived, and we got a map out, and we picked all the suburbs that were around him, and we put them into little bubbles, and said, all right, we're going to go and look inside this bubble and this bubble and this bubble and this bubble, and we're going to find who are the glaziers, who are the people who install glass in those areas, and we're going to reach out to them and say, I would like to refer you some work, because I'm a carpenter and I love doing the window frame side of things, but I don't like doing all the glass. I usually get a glazier in to do it. So what I'd like to do is refer you all the work within your suburb when, but in return, I would like to have the carpentry work referred to me. And the idea was he would go and speak to like 3 people in each of these suburbs, decide which ones he actually wanted to work with, because you can't work with everybody. You should actually find that there's a value alignment with the people you want to work with. And so he would go and speak to these people, and he would speak to 3, and he might find even 2 were actually pretty good. But it's hard to refer to 2 in the same zone, right? So you want to, okay, I've got an idea. I can help one of the guys, but one in particular is going to be my go-to. And so he started referring work to these glaziers. And in turn, they started referring the carpentry side of the work to him, and they would do window frames and all the other things that went with it. And sometimes he would actually work hand in hand with these people to actually do the install. So that was it. That was all he did. He did one campaign. He went out to all these different suburbs, created partnerships, referral partnerships, that's what they're called. This is referral marketing. Referral partnerships in all those different spaces with glaziers just to do the window frames. He never needed anything else. Now, you might say, well, I'm a little bit more ambitious than that. I'd like a little bit more work than that. Well, the great thing with that technique is you can go, all right, if I just want to do the carpentry and if I just want to do the window frames, what are some other things that people want around that time? Yes, they want the glass. Maybe they need painting done. Maybe they need window furnishings, all right? So there's a couple just there off the bat that you could go and find the same situation with those people in each of these suburbs and then have the discussion. I would like to refer these services to you when I'm doing my window frames. Would you enjoy receiving those referrals, and would you refer me in return? And obviously you do need to build a little bit of a relationship, so there's trust there, because people don't just give referrals. They want to trust that you're going to do a good job, but over time you build that relationship. And this can be, if you put this into your business, you're thinking about, all right, what's my business? What are the other services? What are the other products that people use around what it is that I do? How can I form relationships with these people in the different zones that I declare? And those zones might be location-based. They could be online, offline. They could be verticals. That's, you know, what industry I'm going to go into, all right? But you can start building all these little referral relationships. And once you've got enough of them, you know, 5, 6, 7 out there, you're giving referrals for their different sectors, and they're bringing it back in return. Now, you might not give as much as you get, but for every 10 referrals you put out there, you might get 5. And it's a great way of increasing your business through referral marketing. So hopefully you found that interesting. It's not just a tale. It's an actual case study that we put into place for a carpenter that I used to work with. I didn't work with him for very long because of that reason. We put the one campaign in place. It just worked. So if you're interested in referral campaigns or how it would even work with your business, feel free to come and speak to me. But there are so much more than referral campaigns out there. There are all sorts of things that we can do to actually increase your business. And I got really excited, actually. Today, I did this really cool advisory session with a young guy up in Sydney who is selling massages, like massage guns. Fantastic. I love working with passionate people. And this was one of those situations where he was just looking for advice, some straight talk advice from someone who didn't want anything from him. And we had one of the best conversations. And so I love strategizing. I love being involved in the conversation around business. So I'd love to do that with you. So is there something we should be talking about? Is there strategy we should be talking about? Or is there a little tactic that you'd like to go, you know what? Russell might actually have a way of applying that to my business where it's actually going to increase my customers. It's going to increase my sales, or it's going to give me a better type of client that I really love working with. So if that rings a bell for you, then give me a buzz and we'll have a chat and see what we can do with you and your business. Till next time, this has been Tactical Tuesday. Have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday, and I will catch you next time.